Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have finally completed Prisoner of Beauty, and that's because I switched from watching it on Viki to Tencent. I just could not wait for Viki, especially because I have no clue when they're releasing the last 5 episodes, and I simply cannot wait. So I went on Tencent and I bought the Express package. Yes, I did. So let's go and get into it and let's discuss the show overall. So this show is available to watch on Viki and Tencent, and it stars Song Ju-er and Liu Yining as the male and female lead. It is an enemies to lovers story. So basically, the male lead's family was betrayed by the female lead's family during a war in the previous generation that led to the deaths of the male lead's father and brother. So there's a lot of generational beef there. Now, the female lead's grandfather is trying to make amends for his generation's mistakes, and so he organizes one of his granddaughters to get married to the male lead. It wasn't supposed to originally be the female lead, but she decided to get married to him because her cousin was in love with another man, and she let them run away together, and then she goes to marry the male lead. When she arrives, the male lead's pretty much ready to kill her even before seeing her face because he feels like, your family's rubbish, I don't want anything to do with you, whatever. And you're probably wondering, okay, if he hates them so much, why would he agree to the marriage? Well, he didn't really agree to it. His grandmother agreed to the marriage, and he respects his grandmother, so he said yes. But he still makes it really difficult for the marriage to actually happen. And so she gives him a very prized possession as a dowry, like Panyi, this very notable region, and that's why he ends up marrying her. The marital ceremony is not very nice, like it's very, very awkward. There's a lot of like tension and bad blood between them. And this is all set up within like the first 8 episodes of the show. And the rest of the show is about her trying to be like a good wife to him, to convince him that like, hey, let's try and make this work. But so many things happen in the show that means it's a really long journey to both of them being comfortable actually being a proper married couple and not just in name. Um, and they're both like sexually attracted to each other, but that's not the point. Like, it's so much more. It's the things that they both care about that are like in between the relationship that make it really difficult and also make it a really interesting enemies to lovers story because to be honest, for the most part, she's doing like all of the legwork when it comes to trying to make the relationship work. And it's mainly because the male lead is incredibly traumatized from the fact that his family have died and he's basically married his enemy and sleeping with his enemy and he feels really uncomfortable. So she's having to be the bridge for them and for everybody else. And she's doing all the work. And over time, like as she sees the kind of person that he is and how hard he's working to make their world peaceful, she falls in love with him and she was already going to be the bridge. She was already going to do everything she was supposed to because of what her grandfather told her to do. But falling in love with him made her stick to it, made her want to stay there. Because for any reason, if she had not like fallen in love with him along the way, I know for a fact that she would have just gone back to her homeland. Especially after her grandfather died, like she just would have gone and done whatever she wanted to do if she wasn't in love with him. And that's because of the kind of person she is. And after he also falls in love with her, he also acknowledges that like there would have been a time where she could have very easily walked away and she didn't. And he's glad that she's there and that she's with him and that he loves her and he adores her and he respects her and he appreciates the kind of person that she is, and how hard she's worked to like not only maintain their marriage but also like peace between the kingdoms. And this is not to say that she's perfect, because she definitely does like sneaky stuff on the side to protect herself against him in case things go wrong, because things could go wrong. And she's a smart person. But, in the end, she ends up confessing absolutely everything, and they both forgive each other for like all the mistakes that they've made. But even with that, I mean, she is an amazing wife to this man. And if not for all her work, they wouldn't have even gotten to the stage where they would have consummated their marriage and had a child. They have a daughter at the end of the show. So they would never have gotten to that point without her work. Like, she put in so much effort to make things work, and it's all because of her grandfather. Like, she did also end up like loving him, but like I I appreciate all the work that she put in to make that relationship work, and I respect her for it. Okay, like even her having the child, like she very intentionally was like, I'm consummating this marriage to have a child for you, to build your home, to do this. Like she's doing everything she can to make amends, and she's carrying that burden, and like she'll always carry that burden. So it's a lot more than just a love story. I think it's a story about women carrying the burden of like of generations. Like if I was to look at it from a different perspective, I'd say it's Prisoner of Beauty is about being a prisoner like to generational beef, being a prisoner as a woman, like being a prisoner of beauty in terms of the fact that like your beauty is being used to like shape the future, but you also have to carry the weight of being the source of all of those things, and it's about women having to carry that burden, like, and it's sad, honestly. It's sad that she has to do all of that. Like, I'm glad they have a happy ending, but when you really think about it deeply, you're like, isn't it sad that she couldn't be free and unfettered? Now, please be advised that I'm not saying that like I think that's bad, because even at the end of the show, they end up achieving peace. He goes to war, he wins, and they end up being free and unfettered at the end. Because honestly, nothing good comes easy, and I think that's also a part of what the story is about. Like, it's sad she has to do all that work, but she did it and she reaped what she sowed, so I really can't complain about that either. So it's about working towards building peace, but it's also about understanding the burden of a woman, I think. Because even her cousin, who is married to her husband, well, they have their own little village that her husband goes to protect for the female lead. And her cousin ends up like dying in the midst of the war because the enemy is trying to use her husband against her, and then he starts fighting the male lead, and she dies to prevent anything messy happening. And so she sacrifices her life for peace too. And the funny thing is, beforehand, the family had begged the cousin to allow her husband to help the male lead, and the cousin had refused because she's like, why would I endanger my husband? And then she ends up dying as a result of not listening to her cousin anyway. Because I'm gonna say it, because some people are gonna be like, oh, but listen, if she had listened to Man the first time, she wouldn't have died. Now, they also, I guess, wanted to show how like she loves her husband as well, but I don't think the death was necessary. From a script writing perspective, as I said, they didn't have to make that kind of like gap between the cousin and the female lead. It's unfortunate, and I don't think it was necessary, so that kind of annoyed me. Moving on to like the other characters, Willie Yang died. I want to say something that I've noticed in C dramas. If I remember correctly from Love at the Galaxy, they also killed off the heavier weighted male character that was also a military man. I think they do these things on purpose. Like, why are you killing off the comedic relief? That I don't think William had to die. Like, he dies in such a stupid way too. Like, he goes to get the female's father-in-law because she had a nightmare, and the Melody sends asked one of his like soldiers, his cousins, to go collect the father-in-law, and he's not necessarily chosen to go do it. Like he just decides to go do it because he's encouraged by his other cousin. So he goes, and he dies because he gets like ambushed. Like he just dies in like a really stupid way, and I don't think his death was necessary. I don't think his death added anything aside from maybe like giving the male lead adrenaline to win the war, but like he would have won the war anyway. So, like I said, Wei Liang didn't have to die. Like that is another unnecessary death. Neither the cousin nor Wei Liang had to die. Like it's just in that's my complaint about the last four episodes, just kind of killing off characters unnecessarily just to make people like kind of emotional. But there were already so many other emotional scenes in the show that were great. That would have been enough. Like when my man's pregnant and the Melody's like comforting her and they're having this deep conversation about just how difficult it is to be married to each other. And they're like, I forgive you, I'll never blame you, I'll never blame you. And that scene was like 8 minutes long. And it just, I was watching it and I felt like I was holding my breath the entire time. Like, them just being honest about, yes, I love you, but look at how much difficulty we're facing. But in the end, they're at peace. But I'm like, you can have scenes like that and like not kill characters, you know, unnecessarily. So that kind of, not just kind of, that really annoyed me. But overall, I really enjoyed the drama. I gave it a 9.5. Um, I gave it a 9.5. Do you know why I didn't give it a 10? I didn't give it a 10 because I would have loved a little bit of background on like my man's mother or something. Like, I don't know, like she's been living in a man's world since she was born. And where's the motherly love? Like, she has her aunt, but where's her mother? It's like never addressed. Like, it bothered me in the beginning of the show, so I already rated it at 9.5. But for, I mean, by the time I was like episode 11 or something, and didn't change it because it still hadn't been addressed. But I highly recommend it. If you liked like Love Like the Galaxy, um, I have a feeling you're probably watching this drama and you like it as well. And if you want recommendations for like other dramas that are like pretty similar to this drama, I would recommend Blossom. It definitely has similar vibes, except it's a rebirth story. So I'd definitely recommend Blossom. If you haven't seen it and you liked Prisoner of Beauty, I definitely recommend that you watch Blossom. Let me know what you think about Prisoner of Beauty in the comments below. And give me any recommendations as well for any drama you think people would like if they liked Prisoner of Beauty. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. Thanks so much for listening. Bye bye.